For you.
The Firestone recall, dozens of deadly accidents, now millions of tires taken off the road. What every driver needs to know. In depth, did this really have to happen? Disturbing news about the fire disaster in the American West. Why it got so out of control. No way out. Back-to-back executions tonight in Texas for 2 killers. One may be mentally retarded. What George W. Bush says about this tonight. And best medicine, news about the tiniest newborns, how many survive and their chances of a normal life.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Substituting tonight, Katie Couric.
Good evening. Firestone announced today it's recalling 6.5 million tires used on popular SUVs and light trucks, an announcement that sent millions of Americans out to the driveway and to the auto repair shop to check their wheels. The recall comes after government investigators linked the tires to dozens of fatal accidents, and critics say it should have been done long before tonight. We begin with NBC's Kerry Sanders.
They are among the most popular tires on the road. But at high speeds with lower than specified air pressure, Firestone admits the tires in question can disintegrate. Today, after 46 deaths that the federal government suspects may have been caused by these faulty tires, the voluntary recall.
Most of the incidents we have reviewed indicate improper maintenance or damage to the tires, which is often caused by underinflation of tires.
Listening to the news conference from his hospital room today, Randall Smithwick and his family. A Firestone tire on their Ford Explorer blew out last week. The SUV swerved and then rolled, leaving the entire family injured.
I heard them saying it's my fault because I didn't keep up with the maintenance. I didn't check the air in the tire. You know, that makes me mad, real mad.
The 6.5 million recalled tires are all ATX and ATX2 tires, as well as some Wilderness AT tires of a specific size. The recalls will begin in Florida, Texas, Arizona, and Southern California, where road surfaces are hotter, and where Firestone says 80% of the complaints come from. The tires, says Firestone, all made at one plant, Decatur, Illinois. More than 14 million since 1990.
We've not been able to explain, nor do we know that there is any kind of a design or manufacturing problem in Decatur.
This is not the first time the tires have been recalled. Last year, Ford, the largest buyer of Firestone tires, not Firestone, ordered the tires be pulled off the market in almost a dozen countries around the world, all of them with hot weather. But for 8-year-old Paige Halkett of Crystal River, Florida, today's recall in the U.S. comes too late. Her scars still healing from a rollover accident that left her legs so mangled, it's now 2 inches shorter than her other leg.
When you see your child laying there, you know, and you didn't know if she was going to make it or not, it's really sad that money is all they think about.
Firestone says anyone with these tires should go to a Firestone dealer, but there's a problem. Some dealers report they don't have enough new tires to replace the recalled ones. Kerry Sanders, NBC News, Fort Lauderdale.
Today's recall has drivers of all brands checking their tires, but what should you be looking for? More on that now from NBC's chief financial correspondent, Mike Jensen.
All over the country today, nervous car owners at tire dealers like this one in Glendale, California.
Well, actually, it's my wife's vehicle, and I have 2 small boys, well, they're 8 and 10, so obviously there was some concern there.
Rick Alston there for the 6.5 million tire recall. Others to check out and, if necessary, replace some of the 800 million other tires on American vehicles. Tire dealer Dennis Serpy in New York.
When a recall like this occurs, it definitely gets people thinking about the condition and safety of their tires, and you get a lot more people be coming in.
It's a huge problem and a deadly one. More than 200 million cars and trucks crammed onto America's roads and highways. Traffic so congested that any problem can result in this. 6.3 million crashes last year alone. 3.2 million people injured. 41,000 people killed. The major culprits? Speed, alcohol, fatigue, and more often than you'd think, tires.
Each year in this country, there are tens of thousands of accidents caused by bad tires on vehicles. And these accidents cause hundreds of deaths and thousands of injuries.
Traveling at 50 or 60 miles an hour, tires blown or disintegrated, your car suddenly out of control. Today at auto and tire dealerships, advice on how to prevent such disasters, starting with how long the average tire will last, when you should get new ones.
Tires should generally last you anywhere between 35 to probably 50 or 60,000 miles.
The tips may sound familiar, but experts say they're lifesavers. Rotate your tires frequently, move them front to back and side to side so they'll wear evenly. Check to see how much tread is left. A smooth tire punctures more easily. Keep enough air in your tires for stability. And be careful of low-price come-ons. Cheap tires don't hold up as well. If there's a recall, experts say don't put it off. For America's 190 million drivers, a chilling reminder today that the right tires, properly maintained, can make the difference between life and death on the highway. Mike Jensen, NBC News, New York.
Meanwhile, a bizarre tragedy this morning in southern New Jersey. Two small planes collided in midair and the wreckage landed in a housing subdivision. One house took a direct hit and was set on fire. The couple inside the house was getting ready for work. Both managed to escape unhurt. All 10 people aboard the two planes, though, were killed. Still ahead tonight, Best Medicine, new information about the tough odds facing premature babies and the latest innovations keeping them alive and healthy.
All those advancements are allowing babies to survive with fewer handicaps.
The best medicine to save the tiniest lives. And NBC News in depth, those fires roaring across Montana. How did this happen? Could it have been stopped?
What if you could treat wrinkles like an expert would? With ROC, the developers of retinol in France, you can. With a uniquely encapsulated retinol formula, ROC delivers pure, active vitamin A gently and deeply within skin's surface. In a 12-week study, the appearance of fine lines was reduced by 86%, wrinkles by 42%. Something more superficial beauty treatments could never promise. ROC. We keep our promises.
Imagine combining the stain-fighting power of Efferdent and freshening power of Listerine. You'd get Efferdent Plus. It's extra fresh, and nothing gets your dentures cleaner. Efferdent Clean, Listerine Fresh. That's Efferdent Plus.
Sometimes you have trouble sleeping because you can't stop thinking about the tensions of the day. Try new Aluna Sleep. It's not a drug. Aluna promotes a natural sleep pattern in just a few nights. New Aluna. It doesn't make you sleep. It lets you sleep.
Hungry for seafood? There's only one thing to do. Head to Red Lobster for lobster and shrimp. Just $12.99 right now at Red Lobster. So hurry in and get it before it's gone.
Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Vioxx, a prescription medicine available from your doctor. Or call 1-888-VIOXX22 for information. Vioxx.
More teas with the Duchess of York. More house calls. More encounters with the creature from the Black Lagoon. For him to get more out of life, feed him nutrition that makes a difference, like Iams Hairball Care Formula. Complete nutrition with more effective fiber for more relief from hairballs. Not to mention, more happily ever afters. Nutrition that makes a difference. Iams, good for life.
On an all-new Dateline Wednesday, their reputation precedes them. Vicious, ruthless, dangerous. Now, face-to-face with a 15-foot great white, will Nigel survive unscathed? With another shark, our Dateline reporter wasn't so lucky. An all-new Dateline tonight, 8/7 Central.
NBC News in depth. Tonight, the wildfires in the West, their numbers growing by the day. Now there are questions about how this managed to get so out of hand. The most recent numbers find some 70 wildfires now burning in 12 states, igniting nearly 1 million acres. And in Montana, where the forecast is for more hot, dry weather, the situation is especially bad. But now questions about whether it could have been prevented. From Darby, Montana tonight, NBC's national correspondent Jim Avila reports in depth.
New close-up pictures tonight of what's facing firefighters in the Bitterroot Valley. They call them fire devils, mini tornadoes of flame that leave the forest looking like a moonscape, the kind of hot zone that wiped out John and Pat Coots's house of 42 years.
We lost everything. It's all melted.
Heartbreak and anger tonight in the Bitterroot Valley, where some homeowners blame the National Forest Service for not fighting the fires hard enough when they first broke out.
The Forest Service could have done a lot of things a lot different, you know. Instead of, they'd fly over here, they'd get these fires half out, and then they'd let them go instead of getting them out and stopping this before it got going.
But the Forest Service says it went at the Montana fires with all the firefighting power it could muster. Unfortunately, too many fires across the West. The 4 burning south of Missoula spread quickly.
Some of the fires that we didn't get to initially got big in a real hurry and got beyond our ability to control them with the local resources available.
The Forest Service says it does let some wildfires burn in the wilderness, far from homes, but not these fires. This time it had to make a choice of which fires to fight first, and they chose the ones closest to towns, Darby and Hamilton.
It's certainly hard for us, too. We're not used to having to pull out. We're not used to having to deal with the fact that we're not going to catch a fire.
The fires the Forest Service could not catch remain out of control and a threat to isolated pockets of homes built among the trees. Dixon Creek, about 25 homes totally destroyed by fireball. Fires, the experts say, are now bigger and burn hotter than ever before, because in the past, every fire, even small ones in remote areas, have been put out, creating an abundance of underbrush fuel, now ready to explode.
You suppress fire, have less fire, eventually you'll end up with, after 25, 50 years, you'll end up with a catastrophic fire that takes out the entire stand.
Fire historian Stephen Pine says America spends $1 billion a year fighting fires and not nearly enough preventing them. The result, a record fire season.
The war on fire is beginning to look a lot like the war on drugs. We simply can't put more people and armaments into it and expect to win.
The year 2000 fire season. More than 4 million wild acres burned, and the experts hope more than one lesson learned about fighting fire in the American West. Jim Avila, NBC News, Darby, Montana.
On the front lines of the wildfires are the fire bombers, men and women who literally fly into the firestorm and try to put out the flames. Brent Connor is 43 years old, married with 5 kids and 4 grandkids. He's been a fire bomber for more than 13 years. Tonight, Brent Connor in his own words.
This is a Douglas DC-4, and it was built in 1945. These are still great old airplanes. They don't haul as much as the newer ones. They don't go as fast, but structurally they're very, very sound. This job is as dangerous as you choose to make it. We have the ultimate decision to say no. If we don't want to make a drop, we don't have to. My dad was killed in a tanker when I was 21 years old. But life's a crapshoot, you know. What do you do?
And it's the furthest heavy smoke on the north end of the fire.
If you're trying to get into a canyon or into an area where there's heavy smoke and you just have a hard time with visual reference as far as the terrain. Is the train climbing in front of you? Is there a hill in front of you?
Let's cruise her. Here we go.
Well, the lifestyle of this business is kind of like a gypsy, I guess you'd say. And we can go any place in the United States or Alaska with 15 minutes notice. It's kind of hard on families. Been a lot of divorces in this business, but it's also a very rewarding business. If you get an adrenaline rush, you're probably doing something wrong. But if you do everything right, it's very safe and like driving down the freeway.
That was Brent Connor, fire bomber, in his own words. Up next, a rare double execution tonight in Texas, even more controversial than usual. Will Governor George Bush step in to stop it?
The people of this state know what I know.
You passed on that internet stock and that lakefront property. Well, now, during the Chrysler 2000 final clearance, you can make up for it with our biggest cash allowances of the year on new 2000 models. Up to a $3,000 cash allowance on Chrysler minivans. Or you can get over $4,000 in cash and finance savings. Hey, you passed on that chain of coffee houses, so get to the Chrysler 2000 final clearance, only at your Chrysler dealer.
Only one can be the best.
Now, the best way to cure athlete's foot comes in a new targeted spray. The new Lamisil AT spray pump, now without a prescription. These take 4 weeks of treatment. Lamisil AT cures it with just one. The new Lamisil AT spray pump.
Get the whole grain goodness of Quaker oatmeal. Toasted. Quaker toasted oatmeal. Crisp honey sweet flakes with crunchy oat clusters. It's the same Quaker oatmeal, only toasted. Get the whole grain goodness of Quaker oatmeal. Toasted. Quaker toasted oatmeal squares. Crisp, crunchy squares with a hint of brown sugar. It's the same Quaker oatmeal, only toasted.
This school supply thing.
I know. But until the school budget catches up, I really don't see any other way.
It's just really starting to add up.
I didn't become a teacher for the money, Stephen. The kids really need those supplies.
In an effort to help local schools, Office Depot is crediting 5% of your back-to-school purchase to the school of your choice. Office Depot, helping schools take care of business.
Ouch! Pain again? I thought your dentist said brush with Sensodyne every day.
I stopped when the pain stopped.
Keep using it. It keeps working.
Sensodyne every day. Now try new Sensodyne Tartar Control Plus Whitening every day.
We can't help but be amazed at the instincts they possess to protect all manner of livestock, to be protective of us and our children. What can we do to protect them? Nurture the defenses they were born with, using the natural body defense system in Pedigree. Pedigree, developed with vets, recommended by top breeders.
Tomorrow on Today, you're on the plane and you're going nowhere. When you think you're stuck, make sure you know what your options really are. Tomorrow on Today.
The Democratic National Convention on MSNBC.
Former President Gerald Ford was released from the hospital in Philadelphia today, a week after being admitted for a minor stroke he suffered during the Republican convention. Doctors said the 87-year-old is in good shape, eating and walking normally. Before heading off with his wife to his California home, he paused for a thank you.
I want to thank everybody at the hospital. It's a marvelous facility, a great staff, and they did a super job. And my wife and family are most grateful for the hospitality and friendship here in Philadelphia. We have good memories. Thank you very, very much.
In Long Beach, California, it's the eve of the Reform Party presidential nominating convention, and this one is no scripted infomercial. In fact, it's been nothing but chaos. The candidate who prevailed in the party's primaries, Pat Buchanan, arrived today, but half the delegates have split off from the Buchanan supporters and say they'll nominate someone else. On the presidential campaign trail, Al Gore and his new running mate, Joe Lieberman, spent part of their first full day as a team explaining some of their policy differences. Lieberman voted for experimental school vouchers, which Gore opposes. Gore says he's not afraid of their disagreements and he'll make the final call on policy. At the same time, George W. Bush, campaigning in California, called Lieberman, quote, a good pick, and said he likes Lieberman's stand on vouchers, calling it closer to his own position than to Gore's. One of the issues that has dogged Governor Bush throughout the campaign is the number of executions in his state, Texas. Tonight, 2 more inmates are scheduled to die, the 27th and 28th this year. And there's plenty of controversy. Here's NBC's Jim Cummins.
Yes, Katie, this would be the first time that Texas would execute 2 men on the same night since June 1997. Tonight's executions are even more controversial because a lawyer for one of the condemned men says his client is mentally retarded. Here in the nation's busiest death chamber, executions number 226 and 227 since the death penalty resumed in 1982. The first to die, 36-year-old Brian Keith Robertson for a double murder in Dallas in 1986. Next, 33-year-old Oliver David Cruz for the rape and murder of a San Antonio woman in 1988. Cruz confessed to the murder, but at the trial, his lawyers claim Cruz has an IQ score of 64, can't read, write, and he flunked 7th grade 3 times.
Certainly, it was a terrible crime, but we're not talking about guilt or innocence in this particular instance. We're talking about who do we reserve the death penalty for.
An IQ under 70 is considered at least mildly retarded. Prosecutors say there is now some doubt that Cruz is mentally retarded at all, and that his score may be 82.
In fact, we have discovered that his IQ has since been tested even higher than what was submitted to the jury.
Once again, this puts Governor George W. Bush on the spot in the middle of his presidential campaign. The Texas Board of Pardons and the U.S. Supreme Court reject appeals by Cruz for clemency. Bush, who can grant a 30-day stay of execution, said today that Texas law is clear about the death penalty and the mentally retarded.
Prior to the execution, if a person doesn't know that, the consequences of the decision of the jury and the courts, then the person can't be executed under Texas law.
This has happened before. In 1992, then Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton refused to stop the execution of a man so mentally impaired that he did not even know he was about to be executed.
Nationally, it's believed that 10% of each state's death row could be mentally retarded.
13 of the 38 states that have capital punishment prohibit the execution of the mentally retarded. The Texas legislature is expected to consider joining them when it meets next January. Even Florida Governor Jeb Bush, the Texas governor's brother, has said the mentally retarded should not be put to death. And late today, Cruz's grandmother talked about their last visit.
It is very hard to see him this morning and see him tomorrow.
Cruz's spiritual advisor, a Catholic priest, tells us he's frightened and doesn't want to die. Katie?
Jim Cummins. Jim, thank you. A mixed day on Wall Street today. The Dow was down more than 71 points. The Nasdaq managed to hold on to a gain of just under 5 points. We'll be right back.
Thanks for making a leave. For almost 5 years, I had a hard time walking. I went from doctor to doctor, but even after surgery, I had some pain. Tylenol worked for a while, then quit, and the pain came back. Finally, a doctor suggested a leave. Within a week, I was dancing all night like I hadn't done in years.
Aleve can stop pain all day with just 2 pills. It would take 8 Tylenol to do that.
Now people say I'm a walking advertisement for Aleve.
All day strong, all day long.
Uniroyal tires with nail guard seal most tread punctures. Instantly. Permanently. And repeatedly. Nail guard tires. Only from Uniroyal.
When we asked some denture wearers why they don't use an adhesive, they didn't have a whole lot to say.
I don't need it. My dentures fit fine, thanks.
I've not had a problem in 15 years. But then they tried Fix-It-Dent, and they couldn't say enough.
Makes them feel a lot more natural. I just plain forget I have them.
They actually fit better. That's because Fix-It-Dent gives even the best fitting dentures a better fit.
It just proves you never know until you try.
Fix-It-Dent, and forget it.
My name's Bob.
Tim.
Karen.
I'm quitting smoking.
With Nicorette.
Nicorette gives me 2 ways to help control my cravings.
First, I help prevent them.
You see, I set myself up on a regular schedule. 6 pieces a day.
9.
12.
But you know when you just get that craving anyway, late for a gig, rough crowd, I take another piece to help take control.
And now, after smoking for 20 years,
I'm finally gonna make it.
I'm sticking with it.
I'm gonna do it.
You can do it. Nicorette can help.
People are living longer than ever, and why shouldn't you?
This new Alpo has chicory. It works on the bacteria in your system. But you just like how good it tastes.
A great dog deserves a long life. A great dog deserves Alpo from Friskies.
Another feature of CNBC.com's Account Tracker. View all your investment account balances on one safe and secure screen. The Account Tracker on CNBC.com.
Singing brought her fame and fortune. Will personal turmoil strip it all away? Inside the turbulent life of Whitney Houston, headliners and legends. Tomorrow on MSNBC.
A new study out tonight offers some grim statistics on the future of babies born very prematurely. The odds of their surviving without disabilities are not good. But as NBC's chief science correspondent Robert Bazell reports tonight, the best medicine is reducing those odds and giving the smallest babies a fighting chance at a good life.
The fight to save extremely tiny premature babies. A new study out today showing just how wrenching the choices can be.
There's always the potential down the line that the baby may survive and have handicaps.
250,000 babies born prematurely in the United States, and the ones doctors can save getting smaller and smaller. Columbia Babies and Children's Hospital in New York, one of the country's best neonatal intensive care units.
Nowadays, the medical staff here routinely tries to save babies born after 24 weeks gestation. That's 16 weeks premature, and the babies can weigh as little as 1.5 pounds.
I love you, Mommy.
50 to 60% of the smallest babies survive, but often with 4 months in the hospital, a cost of $250,000, and a big danger of tough times ahead. Today's study from England looked at 2.5-year-olds born 15 or more weeks prematurely. The findings? 48% of the children disabled in some way, 23% with severe disabilities, such as paralysis, blindness, or inability to speak.
This is a very tiny infant.
Dr. Richard Pullen, who heads the Columbia unit, says innovations are cutting the risk. Chemicals called surfactant and a new breathing device reduces lung damage. And by circulating water around the head, this cap cools the baby's brain by 4 degrees in the hours after birth, cutting inflammation and reducing risk of brain damage.
All those advancements are allowing babies to survive with fewer handicaps.
But still scary for parents like Karen and Vinnie Rattano, whose twins Jacqueline and Joseph were born 10 weeks prematurely.
I just was in shock. I thought this was the worst place in the world. I was very overwhelmed. I couldn't see past the incubators, the monitors, the tubes.
While the Rattano twins struggled, others on the unit, like Joseph Palladino, born 15 weeks prematurely, did not make it.
Sometimes doing everything for your child means letting go and not asking your child to suffer or go through any more painful procedures when we feel that they're futile.
But the Rattano twins each gained about 1.5 pounds, ready to go home last Thursday.
The machines are going away and the wires and all the other stuff are just about gone, and it's almost time to celebrate and hand out the cigars. Almost.
All indications, the twins escaped the danger and will be perfectly healthy. 2 lives saved by one of the most miraculous, complex, and difficult specialties of modern medicine. Robert Bazell, NBC News, New York.
That's Nightly News for this Wednesday. Don't forget Dateline at 8, 7 Central. I'm Katie Couric. I'll see you tomorrow on Today. Good night.
Nightly News is a presentation of NBC News. More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.
Ticketless Titans fans have one final shot at seeing their hometown team go up against their Super Bowl rivals Monday night. Find out where you need to go and when to snag your seats. Just ahead on The Scene at 6.
I'm Francine Cuccinello in Nashville's Percy Warner Park, where police have discovered a missing woman's body and set up a crime scene. But the question is, did a murder take place here? Also coming up.
He called for dangerous, even deadly shredding problems, but Tennesseans who have Firestone tires on their truck or SUV may have to wait to replace them. Find out why tonight in Consumer Notebook. And the most popular sport from down under scores right here in Music City. The Scene at 6 begins right now.
You're watching Channel 4 News with Dan Miller and Demetria Kaladimos, Bill Hall, and Rudy Kalis.
Though we just always felt safe.